pledge first. Sorry.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Berry?
Here.
Ms. Oswald? Here. Mr. Pierce? Here. Mr. Hamilton?
Here.
Mr. Peters?
Here.
Ms. Peru? Mr. Webanero?
Okay, a motion to approve the agenda as written with the additions that we have. Any corrections?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hamilton.
Second.
So Davies, all in favor? Motion carries. Motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 12th, regular board meeting as written and or corrected.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Hamilton.
Second.
Second, Mr. Peters, all in favor? Motion carried. Okay. Betty is actually in the mandatory fire department training tonight, so he couldn't be here. And Mrs. Peru is excused. So we do have a recognition of Mr. Webanero for earning an award through the New York State School Boards Association. So if you attend a certain number of things, events and so on, you get a certain levels to go through, and he has now earned a level 2 Board of Excellence Award. So we thank him for his time and his dedication. Okay, and now we get to the very important part of recognizing those people who have retired or will be retiring. It's August 26th for some of them. Recognition. Commemorative books will be placed into circulation in our school libraries in their honor of service as District Peru CSD offers heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to the following retirees, most of which have provided decades of public service to the children and residents of the school community. So we have, I don't know who is here and so on, taking a look, but if you are here, stand up and say your name. Jane Arsenal, came in 2005. Jennifer Kudlow. Stephen Cahill, 2001. Patricia Catamella, 2003. Kathleen Kavanaugh, 2003. 1991. Earl Hoon, 2005. Jeff Keys, 2001. Earl Mary, 1999. Peter McCormick, 2000. Tracy Modlin, 1997. Tricia Thurber, 2002. Melissa Wright, 1992. Congratulations to all of you, and we're going to have a short recess to, where are all right, Mr. McCormick, okay. Congratulations to all of you. Enjoy the retirement. I said, it's interesting to look at those. All of these people were here when I was here, so that's very interesting. So congratulations to all of you. Enjoy it. I'm sure you just come in one day a year, you don't have to be fingerprinted, so remember that. One day you don't have to be fingerprinted, because we always need subs. Thank you so much, everyone. So a short recess. We'll be back 7:20.
Motion.
Did we have anybody sign for public comments? We did have something with Peru comments, and I addressed that. Is this the last time the two, oh my goodness, yes. Last time we have Ivy and Grayson, and we had some signing in there tonight. Yes. Wonderful. Congratulations and welcome, Reed.
Good evening. The High School Student Council ran elections and appointed the officers for the 2026-2027 school year. Next year, our president will be Reed McAfee, Vice President Reese Dupree, Treasurer Bella Berry, Secretary Mia Winters, and Ambassador Aleka Croaxios. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We are grateful for the dedication of our teachers, staff, and administration, the Board of Education members who work tirelessly to support the students of Peru Central School. The positive environment you have helped create has allowed students to learn, grow, and prepare for their futures. As this is our final Board of Education meeting as student representatives, we would like to sincerely thank each and every one of you for making this experience such a positive one. We appreciate the opportunity to share our perspectives and contribute to the discussions that impact our school and community. Your willingness to listen to student voices have made this role both rewarding and meaningful. Thank you.
As we prepare to leave Peru Central School, we do so with countless memories, lifelong friendships, and an outstanding education that has prepared us for the next chapter of our lives. In the fall, I will be attending student classwork, and Maggie will be attending Union College. We are both excited to continue our academic and athletic careers as collegiate student athletes. While it is bittersweet to say goodbye, we are confident that the lessons, experience, and support we have received at Peru will serve as the foundation for the next 4 years of our future success. Thank you, Peru Central School, for preparing us for this next journey and providing us with opportunities that will stay for us for a lifetime. We wish everyone a wonderful summer and continued success for years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being our first to see a little piece of the intergovernment of Peru Central School. Okay, superintendent's report.
So I was going to say the same thing. Thank you for your dedication to come to all these meetings this year. So thank you very much, and we welcome our new student board members. I had an opportunity to meet both of them just the other day in my office, and we went over some of the what is a board of education and all that good stuff, and what their role is. So we look forward to working with them, and we'll have more opportunities as the summer goes on. And we are officially in the throes of end of the year everything. And I guess it's the only way to say it. If you look at the school calendar that's either online or that is printed out for everybody and sent around, we only have one change this year in dates is the 8th grade picnic for students is the 11th.
Correct.
Right? That was the only change, and the rest of it is all as is on the calendar. So take a look at that tonight. We had a athletic signing, which was exciting for our students and well done. It was really was great. And we have many things. Tomorrow night we have Honor Society, and it just goes on from there and there all the way through almost every night. I think we've got something going on here to the end. So take a look at the calendar, and that's where we are with our end of the year things. And what I would like to do now is go right into our DIRP, the district-wide emergency response plan, and this is our public hearing on that. Let's make sure I don't mess this up. So, the emergency response plan, the purpose of that is the district-wide emergency response plan, and we refer to it as our DIRP, and we have building-level emergency response plans, DIRPs, and they're designated to address a variety of implied or direct threats to students and to our staff. So those are things we cover in our school in regards to safety of our students and our employees. Emergency response plans help provide a safe and more secure way of moving favorably in our learning environment. So it's always addressing everything that we need to be doing safety-wise in our school. Emergency assistance. Peru Central School District maintains positive relationships with all of our outside agencies, state and local services. These relationships evolve over time and strengthen through constant collaboration, emergency planning, preparedness, and practice. Peru Central School works closely with Clinton County Emergency Services, Peru Volunteer Fire Department, of New York State Police, the Clinton County Sheriff's Department, and the Clinton County Department of Health. Campus-wide, so some of the drills that we've done, and we've done it previously, so everyone around here knows you get all kinds of notifications from our school about drills that are happening in the campus. This year was a campus-wide evacuation and reunification drill. It was very successful. It was one of those drills where we were able to give our staff an opportunity to see what it'd be like if we did have to move everybody off campus, and then what it would look like to reunify our students with their families. We worked with our partners at Plattsburgh State and the field house there, and it was a lot of room. It was a very different experience than the last time we had to do it. Not that the crate was a bad place, but this was a little bit smoother for sure. In 2019, our district also participated in active shooter drill, and we went through those particular aspects of what would happen if that were to happen in our school. As everyone knows, we do lockdown drills, so we have to do lockdown drills in the spring, lockdown drills in the fall, and we do notify our staff in advance of lockdown drills so that they're aware that it is a drill in advance of the drill happening, and then the morning or right before the drill starts, we actually notify our families. We're required to conduct fire drills every year also, so we do fire drills, and I must commend the secondary administrators. I know it's not me. The secondary administrators, they got theirs done first this year, so they win the prize. They just haven't gotten it yet. Because the superintendent is constantly on them about making sure they get those spring fire drills done before state testing and before Regents exams, and I'm constantly get sick of hearing it. So, emergency coordinator, that's me. We're responsible for coordinating the use of resources and manpower during an emergency. One of the most important things any school district has is chain of command. So in the event that I'm not here, and an interesting quick story is I was out. I had a doctor's appointment one day. I'm never out, but I was out that day, and we actually had a bus accident, and our chain of command came in very handy that day. It was handled perfectly. Individual roles within the district emergency response plan work closely with emergency coordinators during the emergency. So that's the important part. So, but when I'll take a different role as soon as emergency services arrives on campus. Implementation of school security. Each building has the same policies and procedures related to school building safety. All visitors must sign in with a photo ID, and we're really sticklers to that. It might be a little bit of an inconvenience sometimes, especially if you left your wallet in the car and you don't have your ID, but it really does matter to safety that people come in, they sign in, and then they get a badge. Our staff are encouraged to walk up to someone if they see someone in the building that's not wearing a sticker that says that they should be here. What do you do? Can I help you? And then we also, school personnel are encouraged to greet those people, and then entrances across the campus are locked. So one of the most important things to us is if you walk to a door, you're at a door, and the door was ever propped open, it needs to be immediately kicked. You kick whatever's in it out, and doors should never be propped open, and that's one of our things, and they're always locked. Prevention, intervention strategies. All staff and students will be provided the information and training relative to school response, including but not limited to review of expectations, fire drills, lockdowns, emergency evacuation, and early drills. And those are things that are talked about in faculty meetings. And then they're also, when we're talking about our lockdown drills, we let our staff know what level we're doing. So it's the very first one of the year. It's an opportunity for the teachers really to talk about the drill and teach it. And then after that, everyone goes into that particular mode for the rest of them. We use the New York State Emergency Response terms. This is a common across all schools in the North Country and all state agencies, really. This is what we use. So there's the shelter in place, hold in place, evacuation, secure lockdown, lockout, and lockdown. And these are the procedures, and those are things that we share with our staff in our emergency plans. District-wide safety team. So we have a district-wide safety team that we review this every single year, and we have Board of Education members, teachers, administrators, parents, school safety personnel. And the purpose of this is to review our particular district-wide plan every year and determine is there something that how could there be anything? But every year we find something we need to update, fix, and make it a little bit better. So the members that were there, board members Bonnie Berry and Sarah Graves, PAT members Carrie Pearson and China Caro, CSE Jamie Cobb, school nurse was Scott Coleman, and support staff Matt LaFave, and administrators myself, Casey Snow, Aaron Canning O'Neill, Nick Damiani, and Matt Berry. And we worked together in teams, and we went through this process of looking at the dirt, so we broke it into pieces, and we discussed what were things that they saw in their section that needed to be addressed. Throughout, some of the changes that were important throughout, we needed to update phone numbers, names, titles, and applicable language to clean those things up. One of the most important things was noted that in an emergency, you wouldn't want to not have, I know it almost sounds silly, because so many of us, when we were growing up, we didn't have to worry about the 518 quarters, but in an emergency, you want to make sure it's all there. So it was there. Chain of command, with the changes in administration, and the seats for administration is going to be next year, as well as Mrs. Pitcher-Boyd leaving. We ended up going and making changes to the chain of command. We added evacuation response, which needs clarification in our DERP, so that was something we ended up doing as well. Medical response, removed head lice and added additional language under chest pain and seizures per the school nurse's recommendation. Winter storm response, our current plan talked about the principals where it came from, but the principals were the ones that were responsible for notifying about the snow day, and I think that's a great idea. Maybe we should go back to that. That is a stressful part of the superintendent's job, but I'd be happy to give it to him. The DERP's available, so some of the things I just want to let you know, a draft of our DERP will be on for the 26-27 school year will be on our website, and then the final approval will be on the August 11th Board of Education meeting. That will give us plenty of days beyond 30. We need to have it out for 30 days for review, and so that's what it will be with our DERP. And then supplemental materials that we give out to our staff, so it's emergency quick response card. They will be updated and reflect the changes in the DERP, and then the emergency planning for schools, for parents, and guardians. We'll update that as well. So those are the things that we did in our DERP, and I have to say, very productive meeting and very quickly done, and the group really worked well in that. So thank you very much. And that's the end of our DERP. So does anybody have any questions for me? So I will say one of the nice parts about doing it the way we did it was it allows everyone to really hone in on a section that you're like, what are we talking about when we have a windstorm come through, or when we have, you really take an opportunity to look at that if it doesn't make sense or it's something that we don't do that makes sense. And so, and Kara takes all that stuff, puts it back together in one great plan. So thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions for me?
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you mean by remove the head lice?
So, yep, head lice is.
You have to pick them out, no.
So in the past, when a student ended up having head lice, many of us when we were in school would remember kids were sent home with head lice and they had to treat the head lice, but now because of the way treatment is for head lice, it's one of those things where they're not sent home. It's something that they have to work through with the family. We're fortunate as a school district, not all school districts have a social worker, so we have a social worker that can also support families through that process, but New York state law does not allow us to send the children home at this point with head lice. They can stay in school at that point.
So does that mean it spreads more?
We hope not. We do everything in our power to not.
I just asked this, I grew up in Alaska and our entire base was closed down one time because of that head lice.
Thanks.
Yeah, our entire Air Force base.
Well, we're hoping that doesn't happen here.
That's a New York state law though now?
Yeah.
Well, and the pediatricians, the Association of Pediatricians have recommended it, and that's when it became New York state law. that,
It's
you
a New
know.
York state law?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions?
Thank you.
I'm gonna escape. I was given my direction.
So that's a public hearing.
Yep, it's a public hearing, and the board, the actual document for the board is there, which was updated and will be put on the website.
Okay, great.
So thank you.
And GAG.
So, first of all, I'd like to take an opportunity to recognize our retirees and wish them well. They have served PAT and the Peru School District with dedication and charisma, and everything they've done has been for the children of our school district. So, smile. You've reached the end. Congratulations, and you are going to be very sorely missed. It's going to be very hard to replace all the talent that sits here for us. So, congratulations. Also like to wish our student council members, this is their last meeting, on behalf of the Peru Association of Teachers. We want to wish you well as you move on into your collegiate career. this has been a different experience for you and for us as well. But you two, Grayson and Maggie have done very well in this role, and we wish you well and Reed well. Okay. At this time, I'd like to take an opportunity to discuss the morale and the culture at Peru Central School District. In the fall, it was shared with the teachers, Board of Education, and administrators the results of a survey that depicted that morale and culture at Peru Central School District was not in a good place. And I spoke about how together, PAT and administration needed to work together cohesively to improve that culture. Now I realize that no matter what we do to improve morale, it won't get any better until the teachers feel valued and appreciated. Over time, there's been a process where teachers have been dehumanized, turned into replaceable parts, but then conversely, asked every day to go into the classroom and make children feel safe, seen, valued, and fully human. We are asked to do this for our children of this district, but are not given those same values as professionals. In the past year, we have lost some very good educational staff that voluntarily went to other districts or other valued teachers simply because they weren't rehired by the district for various reasons. The culture here at Peru is bad enough where people would prefer to use their personal and sick time rather than come to work. Every time the district or a given building institutes a new initiative, teachers know what that means. Just one more thing that's going to fall under our responsibility. You can only add just one more thing so many times before people can't do it anymore. It's like a glass of water. You can only put so much liquid in it before it overflows. And now some of these issues are systemic in nature, where teachers are held accountable for lack of student success for reasons that are beyond their control. In a society where parents feel it is easier to blame the teacher for their child's lack of effort or other shortcomings, but some of these other issues can be controlled in the district. For example, for the past 3 years, the Board of Education has made reductions due to budget constraints. We get the budget constraints. But yet when we sit here, we hear about the impact that the budget has on the taxpayers and how hard the administrators work to put together the budget for that year. However, every reduction that is made, the impact hits the teachers hardest. The reductions increase our class sizes, putting more students in an enclosed space, when student misbehaviors and emotional dysregulation are at an all-time high. To fall back on quoting John Hattie's research from 2008 and 2011, which negates class size impact, appears to be short-sighted and incompatible to current research post-COVID. In addition, these reductions force reassignments within the teaching staff, which is an added stress and additional work. PAT is requesting that the Board of Education stop these reductions and start communicating with the community that next year's budget will exceed the tax cap. I believe 2 board members mentioned that at the last meeting. We request this action by the Board of Education because we can't afford the consequences of any more reductions to our staff. Second, recently we received a memo outlining how our prep periods were to be spent and our responsibilities and what our responsibilities were during that time. We received this memo because some people were walking the halls during their prep. For how long, I don't know. If they were doing it for a half hour, 5 minutes, okay, we don't know. Okay? But some people walk to clear their heads or simply take a few minutes to refocus, especially if they have been in their classroom for an extended time. The interesting piece of how our prep periods were to be utilized working with students was not one of the responsibilities outlined in the memo. In addition, for a district that has stated that employee mental wellness was a priority, this directly negates that mental wellness of staff matters to the district. Our staff is being requested to be trauma informed, which could be a traumatic experience for PAT members, and they may need some time, such as walking or a few minutes to decompress themselves after those situations. Third, while Peru is making several reductions this year, there were a few positions that had to be filled. 2 of those positions were currently held by people, and long-term substitute positions. In each situation, Peru did not rehire these people for probationary positions. One position was held by a fairly new person that had been in the position for almost 2 years, maybe a year and a half. That person gained the respect of their colleagues, had built relationships with students, had proven their ability in the classroom with excellent observations, and had become a valued part of the team. The person cleared the first round of interviews and went on to the second round of the process. We didn't hire him back. Obviously, this did not sit well with the people this person worked with or others in the district. And there are many people that believe this person was not hired. I'll leave that one. I'll stop right there. These examples are just a few to show how and why teachers in this district feel devalued, unappreciated, and why morale is very low. My goal when I stepped into this position as union president was to work to change the culture from a PAT point of view. 10 years ago, we believed that the culture was low due to past leadership. But now we realize the issues that the staff at Peru face are bigger than one person. I think our teaching staff does a wonderful job for our children, dedicated to our children. And now I just want to imagine what we could do if people enjoy coming to work every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Admin reports. All right, review.
All right, I have two to give to you tonight. I have the winter athletic review and then the spring. So we'll start with winter. This winter we had CBAC champions in girls basketball and boys bowling, and they both respectively won those last year as well, or the previous year. Our girls that merged with Beekmantown for hockey also were CBAC champions, and our boys that merged with Sable were CBAC champions as well. Sectional championships, we had wrestling, boys bowling, girls basketball, boys basketball. Our wrestling team was the dual meets champions as well, which sent our whole entire wrestling team to states. And then girls hockey was also sectional champions as well as CBAC. Then the boys swim team that our boys participated on were sectional champions, and this was their 5th championship in a row. So really great accomplishment for them. Our CBAC All-Stars for the winter season, CBAC Player of the Year went to Reese Dupree for girls basketball. Reese was also first team. Violet Berry was first team. Bella Berry was second team. Honorable mention was Maddie Marino. Boys swimming, we had Jonathan Baldomir and Deshaun Stone. Wrestling, we had first team Nate Beatty, Mason Starkey, Jeremiah King, Aylin Capon, and second team Cole Silver and Kaden Rivers. Then continue. For girls competitive cheer, we had Riley Kaplan. She was, in cheer they do it differently, they pick by positions. So she was the all-around CBAC All-Star. Addison Bickowitz was for the star base. Hannah Pearl was for star back base. Boys hockey, Ryan Campbell, first team. Honorable mention, Gabe Moore. Boys basketball, we had first team Deacon Whitmarsh, third team Jordan Osborne, honorable mention Trenton Taylor, and then boys bowling, it was Hunter Guerin, Peyton Guerin, Ian Reel, Zach Boucher, Lance Hemingway, Nathan Metcalf, and also I have to sing back to boys basketball and give them a special shout out. It's been a really long time since boys basketball has won a sectional championship here at Peru, and they had an outstanding season this year and were able to finally capture that sectional championship. So job well done by them. Our state participants, and for indoor track, the All-Stars are also the state participants. We had Michael Welp, Brennan Peters, Owen Fuller, Skylar Rozowski, Lauren Davey, Maddie Welp, Maggie Garrow, Logan Porter, David Nowatake, Aubrey Narducci. Boys swimming, Jonathan Baldomir and Deshaun Stone. Wrestling, Marley Cummings, Aylin Capon, Mason Starkey, Brody Blaze Smith, Zach Gatto, and Nate Beatty. And I want to go back up to Marley real quick. This year is the first year our section held a girls wrestling sectional championship, and I think Marley was the first person to compete, and she competed for Peru and went out there and won and got to represent us at states this year. So, and she actually won a match at states, so she had a good showing. Boys bowling, Hunter Guerin, Peyton Guerin, Ian Reel, Zach Boucher, Lance Hemingway, and Nathan Metcalf. And then we had several teams make it to regional play this year. Girls basketball, boys basketball, and the girls hockey athletes. I'd like to give a special shout out to competitive cheer. They finished third at sectionals, and they had an outstanding season, and they had over 20 kids on the competitive cheer team this year, which was huge numbers for our competitive cheer group. And I still say to this day, if you haven't been to the sectional event, it's a really fun atmosphere, so hopefully you can check it out sometime. We had Coach of the Year this winter, Mike Seymour for wrestling, and our girls bowling team received the Ray Holmes Sportsmanship Award. And then some big news coming out of the winter season. The John J. Herbert Award winner recognized Lauren Davey and Jonathan Baldomir. And then we were 75% of our winter athletic teams were over a GPA of 90 or higher. So they were NISPA Scholar Athlete teams. We hosted the first ever girls wrestling tournament here at Peru, and we had over 50 female participants. And then I did give a shout out to Marley here. She was our first female wrestler to compete in girls wrestling sectionals and win, and she participated in girls. Aylin Capon also was on our wrestling team, but she chose to stay competing with the boys, and she also won her bout for to go to states, which is awesome because she had to wrestle all the boys and she beat them. So that's awesome in itself. So shout out to those two girls for really excelling in wrestling. All right, so spring, here we are. Had a great spring season. CBAC champions, girls softball and boys baseball. The sectional champions, girls softball, boys baseball. Sectional champions, track and field, boys and girls. Maggie, am I correct that you just broke the school record in the pentathlon? You just broke your own school record, I think. So shout out to you for that. And sectionals here is a little different. So there's an overall golf championship. We did not win that, but our one golfer won the individual, Cooper Sweeney. So he was the individual section champion. And then tennis, the same thing. Our doubles team of Camden Sweeney and Isaac Hathaway, they won the doubles and got to represent us at states. So a little bit of individual there, but awesome job by them. All-Stars this spring, we had baseball. So baseball does it a little differently, and softball. They do an all-CBA team. They make their first teams first, and then they pick a top 9. And for baseball, the all-CBAC team was Caleb Smith, Deacon Whitmarsh, Gabe Moore, Caden Smith, and Jake Frechette. All of them made the first team as well, along with Keegan Theriot. And then honorable mention was Trenton Taylor. For girls softball, we had an all-CBAC team of Maddie Marino, Sierra Gepner. First team was Maddie Marino, Sierra Gepner, and Natalia Gushloff. And our honorable mention was Ireland Bateman. CBAC All-Stars. We had girls flag football. We had an honorable mention of Bryn Bertrand. Golf, we had Liam Clark, Patrick Clark, and Cooper Sweeney. Tennis, Isaac Hathaway and Camden Sweeney. They were second team. The first doubles team, they give it to 2 doubles team. And then Colin Powers made second team, and he was the first singles to make it. And then we also do a merger with PHS for boys lacrosse, and I found these really cool shots of these guys that Section 10 does, because it's not a Section 7 sport. I do believe they won the title in Section 10 for lacrosse, so like our sectional championship is what they won. And we have Ryan Campbell, he was all NAC second team. Killian Baker was all NAC first team. And then Layden Delaron won the sportsmanship award, and he's an athlete of distinction, which is kind of like their scholar athlete. If he has a 90 or above average, they in their section crown athletes of distinction. So he received that for us. So state participants for golf, Cooper Sweeney, Patrick Clark, and Liam Clark all attended the golf states. Boys tennis was Isaac Hathaway, Camden Sweeney, Colin Powers. Girls tennis is in the fall, but these two made states, Maddie Merrill unfortunately is a senior, so she won't be able to attend, but they will have a replacement for her. And then Alexis Bordeaux. And then sub-regional play, softball, baseball, and lacrosse all made it to sub-regional play. Then if we come over to track and field, it's a very long list. We're sending 25 athletes to the state competition. And Coach Finlaw notified me that these guys are all-stars as well. And he said they just voted on CBAC all-stars, but he didn't get the results yet, so I wasn't able to put them in here. So we have Jensen Atkins, Bryn Bertrand, Brody Blaze Smith, Chase Carpenter, Finley Kuhn, Alyssa Dara, Lauren Davey, Owen Fuller, Maggie Garrow, Mia Godfrey, Addie Healy, Isaiah Hendricks, Layla Lajway, Layla Moquin, David Nawatake, Jordan Osborne, Grayson Pandoff, Brennan Peters, Blake Porter, Logan Porter, Eliana Trumper, Vivian Wolpel, Maddie Welk, Meredith Welk, and Michael Welk. So congratulations and good luck to you guys as you head to states on Friday. And then Unified Basketball, they don't have a sectional championship, but they had an undefeated season going 9-0. They hosted their assembly game versus Ty. It was a great success. Our student body was awesome. We had a lot of fun. And what's great about Unified is it gets so many people participating, and our coaches do a really nice job bringing the spirit of Unified here for our athletes. And the assembly game kind of counts as their culminating event. That's why they like us to do them, so they have that big crowd. So it's really cool. Coach of the Year, Ray Holmes. I don't like to talk about myself, but I was Coach of the Year for softball. And I always say that it's not me, it's my team and my other coaches that get that award. Ray Holm was girls tennis. And then big news, the John J. Herbert Award winners for this spring, Brennan Peters and Josie Sabella. We were again on all spring teams were NISBA Scholar Athlete teams, so great accomplishment, which then triggered taking the average of our winter, spring, and fall teams. We will be receiving this fall at the annual AD conference I have to go to in Lake Placid. We will receive a School of Excellence Award, which refers to schools that had 75% of their varsity programs qualify for and receive NISBA Scholar Athlete Awards. So we'll be getting a nice plaque to put in our school for that. And we were also recipients from NFHS, Award of Excellence for Great Sportsmanship, Ethics, and Integrity from our athletes and fans. And the other thing is we have our Senior Athletic Award Banquet on Monday, June 15th at 6 p.m. in the high school auditorium if you would like to attend. Thank you. Yeah,
Congratulations to all, that
Yeah.
list.
It was a big one.
It was, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations to all the teams and the individual athletes and coaches and so on. And of course, everybody who supports them.
Yes.
And Ms. Love is on her way, so Mr. Badger, are you ready to give us a little information about your Safe Food Waste Reduction Murals?
Sure, we got a couple.
We've got some people here, I
Go
think.
up.
Okay.
That works.
Yeah.
Got a couple visitors.
Sure.
All right, so, how's this work?
Third tab.
Okay, so just a little background on Students Against the Vanishing Environment. We're a student-led organization. has to do with environmental issues, educating our students and staff on stuff having to do with the environment and making the school a better place. I'm the advisor. Delta is the president, so I'm going to
Hi. So recently we started to work on a mural project against food waste. So we've just been working on it. Okay, so the problem is food waste. We put together this whole little thing. Basically, each year the food we waste costs the North American economy $278 billion, and we could have fed 260 million people. And what else would we waste? We would waste about 13 football stadiums, $1.9 billion waste in tipping fees, and 193 million tons of greenhouse gases end up getting released, which is about 41 million cars driving, which is very bad, and that's not good. There's over 32 million hectares of wildlife habitat that is just lost due to farmland to grow food that we never end up eating, and that's not good. Water that could fill a bunch of swimming pools and enough energy to power a really huge amount of homes. So we decided to use art as a tool to educate, inform, and change people's minds, and we've decided to use a series of murals placed in the cafeterias that can help the students helped us create, which can make a lasting difference. So I want you all to take a second, think about what food means to you, okay, and then make a choice to waste less food. This is one of our goals. I'm sure you guys might have seen it maybe walking in. We have a bunch of them in the lobby. So our goals are to educate the students, because you have to be aware in order to be a part of the solution. You can't just go into something blindly and hope to create change. And having like a daily little thing you see every day telling you to take what you eat and nothing else will help stop food waste. And it also, when everybody works together to create the murals, students will feel a lot better about themselves and they'll want to do it because they participated in it, they helped with it. So we have a whole little team here. We have Peru Safe Club, Mr. Badger and I. We provided the leadership, volunteers, and student coordination. We have environmental experts. We have Cody from the Clinton County Health Department and Jennifer Perry from River Valley Regeneratives. If you guys want to wave. Say hi. We also have the Peru Lions Club. They're in the back. They helped the students and gave them guidance during the mural painting. And then we have Mr. Badger, who helped us create this whole thing, and he also finalized it. So he's really cool, and you guys should give him a quick round of applause real quick.
So my name is Cody Douglas. I'm a senior public health educator at the Clinton County Health Department, working in our health planning and promotion division. The work that I offered to the Safe Club was through our grant. We have a grant which is administered by the New York State DEC, funded by the EPA, called the Municipal Food Scrap Recycling Initiative. And with that grant, we were able to help pay for the materials for the actual murals, the canvases that they went on, the paint, the ceiling, everything like that. We were actually able to also offer some funding to pay for the actual design of those murals. So our grant is focused on recycling of food scraps in municipalities, businesses, and we wanted to also partner with the schools. So we're really excited for these murals. They turned out incredible. We're really hoping that the students engaged well with them. I think they did based on how they came out, and we hope that the students really took something from it about what they can do themselves to make an impact on the environment. So thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have Jennifer Perry.
I am Jennifer Perry. I am here with two separate hats. I do own and operate a business in Redford called River Valley Regeneratives. We haul food scraps from across the North Country and bring it back to our facility in Redford and turn it into compost. We process about 14 tons of wasted food a week into compost. All of that compost goes to local farmers and gardeners. So we're pretty proud of what we do. I'm super excited to be local and to serve the Peru School for about 2 years now. We've been taking the kitchen scraps and turning that into compost. We've worked really closely with Zach, who's been fabulous, and now Greg. So about a year ago, I sat down with Wendy Paul and we drafted a grant that Peru School was awarded. It's one of 27 grants in the whole entire state of New York, so that was a pretty big honor. The scope of the grant, this is also in consultation with Zach, is to a whole bunch of things, but one of them is that I will be working with Greg, with Save, with Cody, with the students to be doing assemblies, coming into classrooms, doing microscopy throughout the entire school year, probably starting this fall. So just to really educate students around not just wasted food, but the science and processes of composting. So it's a really cool grant project. That's one element of it. Another element is that we're going to be inviting faculty to be contributing to the wasted food bins as well. So there'll be a whole process of education and awareness that will come with a food scrap counter bin that will be free, that will be given to participants. So that's coming up at some point in time. Going with that, we are also investing in a really nice bin that has a sealed lid. The ones that we have are pretty decent, but this is a step above. So they're going to be very sealed, a nice lock. If they tipped over, it's basically like a Ziploc container, like no fluids are going to leak out of it. So one of the hoped outcomes of this entire process, which we would take over basically the course of the school year, is to expand into having the students contribute to our bins off their trays, which is a challenge for sure, but it's a really important step. It's not a necessary one, but it really brings a lot of the responsibility back to students to be able to do it. It's something that we would do in a very staged and intentional way. We've had a lot of discussions and planning that has gone into it, but that is something that we're hoping will be part of the process as well.
Thank you.
The Peru Lions Club.
We were just happy to play a small part and support this project and to see the murals, the way they came out. I just congratulate the team. We were here for a couple of the days that they're being painted, and we're not part of the education world, but I would say chaos would describe what was going on, but to see the finished product, there's some magic going on there somewhere. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we have a little roadmap. Phase 1 was design to mural production. Phase 3, finalization and sealant, and Phase 4 would be permanent installation. We finished Phase 3. Phase 4 will probably be moved on next school year. So Phase 1, we drafted the mural concepts and we sent them across to all of the students and made them put little inputs in about what they thought it was. This is, I believe, like a screenshot from it. We had them rate it on stars. It was cool. During our Earth Fest, we had Peru students from the intermediate, high school, and middle school make murals, which is over 1,100 students working together in order to change the environment, and also everyone living again, which is cool. Phase 3 was finalization and sealant, which Mr. Roger finalized the designs and applied the protective sealant. That's a photo of him doing it. And Phase 4, we have the little areas we put them up on. Murals will be installed in cafeterias and launch food waste reduction education activities next year. Hopefully, we will be working with you more within the next 6 or 7 months. Does anyone have any questions?
No, thank you. I was here when they were doing the murals. It really was very interesting.
Yeah.
Quite a cooperative little piece doing it.
When everyone leaves today, if you would, instead of going out those doors, go out through.
You see the murals.
In the main lobby here, you'll see the murals. They come out beautiful.
They're beautiful. Yeah.
And that's so you know too, I work across the state, and there are now other people throughout the state trying to replicate.
Oh, neat.
That's
Great.
It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll give you credit.
Might have to travel.
Yeah.
Thanks
Presenting.
for your new field trip idea.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate it.
Okay. Ms. Bob is here, so we'll have her continue on with the Costa Rica highlights.
Alright, I just put together a bunch of pictures from each part of our journey for Costa Rica this last April. So you guys can share in some of what we did and kind of see what all those efforts have resulted in. So just some sneak peek pictures there. Alright. Oh. There it goes, okay. So day one, we have a picture of everyone on our airplane ride. We flew from Boston to Panama City and from Panama City to San Jose, Costa Rica. So it's quite a trip. Starting out the bus ride from here all the way to Boston. But you can see smiling faces. Everyone was still really excited. So our second day there, we ended up going around San Jose, going to Alajuela, and then we went to a coffee plantation, the Doca Hacienda, and then we ended up having a surprise visit to a waterfall. We ended up driving to the Arenal area, which is where the volcano was, and ended up with the hot springs that evening, which was fantastic. Okay, so here's some of our morning pictures. You can see the breakfast, a good culture shock for most of our students was breakfast is typically beans and rice with a little side of fruit. So that was a good culture shock. By the end of the trip, everyone was joking about, I wonder if we could get some beans and rice here. So that was pretty fun. And then the pictures off to the right hand of the screen is at our first hotel at the pool that they were really excited to get back to for our last day. So they got a sneak peek of what they get to hang out in when we returned. Sorry, there's a lag between pushing.
Yeah, there is.
All right, so this is Alajuela, one of the bigger cities of San Jose, kind of the heart of San Jose. So nice little group photo there, and then of course the sloth, because Costa Rica is known for their sloth. And then we ventured off into the Hacienda Doca, which is the coffee plantation. This was really fun. This was like the first big tour that we did when we got there. And if you look at the bottom right corner there's a coin. And one of the cool facts that they found out was that whenever people come to work the fields there, sun up to sundown, each box of beans that they would collect, they would get a coin in return, and at the end of the day, they turn their coins in for money. Each coin was the equivalent of roughly $10 US, and they would get about 4 coins for the whole entire day. That's currently. That's not in the past, so that was a big shock for a lot of our students who are like, wait, we make like 17 to 20 an hour where we work at, and we don't make much money. So it was a good culture shock for them to see that. And then to know that actually in Costa Rica, a lot of people in Costa Rica don't do any of this work. They actually have migrants from Nicaragua that come down because they pay so much better in Costa Rica than in Nicaragua. So some cool things for them to learn about. The right side, you see some of the students there. They're in a butterfly garden checking out some of the butterflies, the giant blue ones that are on their dollar bills. All right, so then we started driving again because we traveled all over Costa Rica. And as we were driving, our tour director decided he would give us a little quick stop at a waterfall, a little surprise visit for us, so we got to check that out. And then ventured on further into the Arenal area where we saw a few volcanoes actually, and ended up at the hot springs here. We thought we were gonna be in more of a natural environment instead of something a little bit more procured like this. But I guess there's been a few like accidents of cutting feet on their rock and stuff, so they actually made it a little bit nicer for us. The parents very much loved this part of the trip. And the pools, there's probably like, I don't know, 20, 30 different pools that you can venture between in the hot springs there. All right, so day 3, we're waking up in the Arnall area where the volcano was at, and we end up traveling to a pineapple plantation next. So there's us in the morning. No shortage of fun times playing games after breakfast. The middle picture is actually at our hotel before we took off. So you can see we're definitely in the heart of a jungle. And then we get to this pineapple plantation that is literally titled The Best Pineapple Tour is the business name. Not to be confused with the fact that they really are the best pineapple tour around. We had a guy cutting up the pineapple right there on the tractor trailer that we were in, going around the plantation. We actually even got to plant our own pineapples. They asked us to come back in a year to come harvest those for us. So Peru, if you'd like us to go back. At the end, we also got the privilege to celebrate Miss Lozier's birthday there at the plantation as well, so that was quite fun. All right, day 4, we're halfway there. We wake up in the morning, we had some yoga sessions, and then arguably the favorite of most of our students, we went kayaking in the Sarapiki River. And then in that evening, we had an excursion with bats into Ubina. Okay, so you can kind of see some of the yoga stuff. We were actually split into 2 different hotels at this point, because when we traveled, we were traveling on Semana Santa, which is like the holy week. So it was very hard to get all of our hotels stays all in one location since we were a large group. So this was the only time that we were separated. So we actually had 2 separate yoga groups. You can see the one in front of the pool and the one on the right side. My favorite pictures I didn't get to include though, because on the right side was a lot of the parents and their daughters, and the lady had them doing yoga where they were like kind of like standing on top of each other and stuff. It was quite fun to look at those pictures. But the boys enjoyed it just as much as the girls. I actually had Alex Watts saying, man, I should probably do this more often. So that was really nice to see that as well. Alright, so this is, again, arguably the most enjoyable portion for a majority of the students. They very much liked the kayaking. Although the sun was strong, we did have a little bit of problems with a few sunburns, but we are okay. You can see in the middle here, with the girls with the red life jackets in the very middle, they're enjoying watermelon and pineapple, so we got to stop on a black sand beach and have some nice fresh fruit for a snack in the middle of the day, and kayaked, I want to say it was like 4-ish miles roughly down the river. Saw a lot of wildlife. It was quite fantastic. And then that evening, some people loved this, some people did not. But we did have a bat tour where they actually brought the bats like really close to us, and we could see like all the different kinds of bats and how to identify them if they were right in front of you kind of thing. And one of our students, Erin LeBoy, this was her all-time favorite for sure, and it was really fun just watching her enjoying it so much. I think that was my favorite part of this particular tour. And then I included this because that night, whenever we came back, like I said, that there were 2 separate hotel rooms. When we came back, I had to go to the second hotel, and then I returned back to my hotel where this group was. And as I'm walking down the long corridor to get to my hotel room, I look over and I hear people giggling and talking and being cutesy, and I was like, who is this? And I look in and peek in, and this is what I see. And it's a group of all of our students from that half of that separate portion of the hotel, sitting doing a circle, a leadership circle in Costa Rica without being told to do so. It was all on their own accord, so it kind of blew my mind in a very good way. To see them interacting like that, and in fact, you'll hear maybe one of them talking about at the end about how their favorite thing was actually getting to know people that they never would have talked to in school, and making friends with people they've never interacted with here in Peru, but they did when they made it to Costa Rica, so that was pretty awesome. All right, day 5, we leave the rainforest area, I said say goodbye to our frog and gecko friends. We had I took a shower with a frog, unbeknownst to me, and we had geckos in hotel rooms, and it was definitely not your typical hotel stays like you would have in the U.S., but that is the whole point of the trip, is to experience life unlike what we experience here. And we left and went to a banana tour, a banana farm, had empanadas for lunch and ice cream, and then my favorite part was meeting the Bree indigenous tribe. So there is another typical breakfast. I know the pictures might not be able to see too closely in there, but up in the top right here we have the kids doing a sugarcane press, and we got to try actual sugarcane directly from the plant, which was really cool. And then we had like the jackfruit and the bananas and all of that. And then again, as I said, this is my favorite part, was the brie. One of my things about taking kids abroad is I want them to meet different ways of life. So not just different cities, but I also want them to see that what you see on the National Geographic Channel actually exists. It's not just on a TV screen. So we went to the Bree Indigenous Reserve, where they taught us about the medicinal purposes of plants, and they are very primitive. They don't really, they still use like dart guns. They have poison frogs, and they have a little poison frog like enclosure area. We got to see some of those little frogs and stuff safely, and we got to experience sitting in one of like their dome areas and hear about like their religion and what they believe in, and we also got to see how the cacao plant is like really sacred to them. So we went in and we saw how they harvest the cacao beans, how they dry them out. We got to toast them. There's a picture in the bottom middle there. There's a picture of them toasting it. We had all the kids trying it out, taking the rocks to be able to turn it into a powder and ultimately make it hot chocolate at the end of that tour for ourselves. And then at our favorite hotel right there in the middle, our favorite hotel there at the end was the Lizard King Hotel. There were no lizards in our bedroom in this one though, which was really nice. And the hotel was set up around this pool. You can see them hanging out in the middle there, and then the outside pictures are from one of the restaurants that we really enjoyed. Okay, day 6. This morning we get to wake up and we go to the beach and we start dancing on the beach, learn about Caribbean dance moves and different rhythms with an amazing instructor, and then we had some free time for shopping and beach time before going to the Sloth Rescue Center and having a cooking class, ending up with dessert on the beach with a fire. It was amazing. So this is some of our dancing class stuff. Obviously, I had way too much fun, so I didn't take too many pictures at that point, but those are some summaries. Shopping, you can see we have the beach up there with the shipwreck off the beach a little bit. That was fun for the kids to kind of scuba dive around or snorkel around. The car up on the right is a tuk-tuk, an unofficial taxi of Costa Rica. So if you hear any kids saying tuk-tuk, that's what they're referring to. And then Mr. Duffy, I had to put a little plug for him. The pictures on the left, he was really excited that there was an actual German pastry shop next to the hotel, and so we put a little plug for him there. That afternoon, we go to the Sloth Rescue Center, which was a highlight for a lot of the students to see a sloth that close. We'd seen them in the trees, but man, they blend in so well. So it's nice to be able to see them a little bit more up close and see how they're helping a lot of the sloths and kind of trying to get them back into the wild. And for dinner, we go to this outdoor reggae restaurant where we have cooking classes. You can see some of them on the bottom there, going up to do different activities to help cook our food for the evening. And then the fire in the middle where we went out to the beach and we went out to the ocean a little bit there and we had our desserts. One thing that I thought was really cool about this day was at the beginning, we started out with the dancing and the rhythmic moves, the Afro-Caribbean moves. And so when we came back to the hotel in the top right corner here, We have our tour guide, Gustavo, and a bunch of the kids, because they thought that it would be really wonderful since they learned about his culture that he should learn about ours. So they decided to take from gym class how to do line dancing. And so the whole upstairs of the hotel was line dancing with our kids and Gustavo, our tour guide. So a good sharing of cultures there. All right, day 7, we go to the Coweta National Park, where we see a lot more animals. We had a birthday party for one of our students who turned 18 that day. And then that evening, we even had a conga line going, which was pretty fun. So here is Coweta National Park. It was a good little hike in, I'd say maybe a mile-ish roughly, out to the point, and then we got to spend probably like 2 hours out on the beach. And Mason found some sand dollars, like live sand dollars out in the ocean there, and lots of seashells, lots of wildlife. You can see the howler monkeys and some of the birds up top there that we found, and the tree in the middle is what the park is actually named after, which is the Coweta tree. And then we went back to one of our restaurants we'd already visited, but they did us a solid. Josh Tyrell wanted to have a Trace Leche's birthday cake for his birthday. So we did everything that we could to make sure that that happened. And our tour guide was amazing and hooked that up for him. And as I said, that evening we ended up with a Congo line dancing away in the restaurant there, and even the other tables with the people from France visiting joined us, and we had this probably about 40 people, maybe, probably more than that, dancing in the middle of this restaurant. It was pretty fun. All right, day 8, we're ending this quickly here now. We leave the Lizard King, our favorite hotel, and on the way back, we were supposed to travel about 4 hours and then do a tour of one of the cities there, and we ran into Costa Rican traffic. So on our way back, you can see on the left side of the screen, there's a bunch of pictures of like fruit. We stopped off at this fruit stand because our 4-hour trip turned into about a 6 to 7 hour trip. And we stopped off to get some fruit to kind of wake us up a little bit and do something, get off the bus for a little bit. But one of the fruits that we ate was very potato-ish like, and you had to eat it with mayonnaise. The kids thought that was very odd. So good experiences. In the middle you can see some of the beaches and the roadway. When we got stuck in the road up here, you can see how there are people walking around in between the traffic. We're literally on the side of this giant hill with like a cliff edge, and there's just people walking between all the cars selling food and drinks and whatever, just to kind of buy the time while we were having, I think, a music show on the bus and listening to some of our students singing to us to buy the time as well. All right, but we finally make it back to that hotel. We didn't do anything more that evening because it was a long trip. Made it back to the hotel the next day. We took off for the airport to fly from Costa Rica to Panama City and then back to Boston. Once we got to Boston, we spent the night in a hotel so we wouldn't have to drive in the middle of the night, and made our way back the very next day. So it was a very fun-filled, packed event. We were very sad to leave. Our bus driver was the best driver in the entire world, and I say that hands down. And I will leave you guys with this little clip. Yes, Maggie, you're in this one.
Where's it playing?
Okay, I loved the trip, and I thought it was such a good experience. And I think if you have the opportunity, you should totally go, because you're never gonna be in school again, getting to hang out with people you don't normally hang out with. And every night
sounds like they had a lot of great things to say, so.
One of the things I really liked was that people were talking about how they really made friends with people they didn't expect to make friends with. And that was kind of the message we wanted to bring forward for future trips, is that you don't have to go with your best friend. You don't have to be with the people that you know the most, because you're going to make a lot of new connections while you're there. And that was kind of the takeaway of it.
Well, thank you very much
Yeah,
for
thank you.
sharing for
Yeah,
us.
thank you for all your organization and planning too. It's quite productive. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As a parent whose child went, can I just say thank you, Autumn, for organizing this? You did a great job. The chaperones were amazing. I felt very well informed as a parent, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the parents and the teachers that went. Yeah. Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay. Reports and communications, any questions? Okay, motion to approve the reports and communications today.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Peters. Second, Mrs. Graves, all in favor? Anyone opposed, motion carries. Okay, we had some new business. Any questions, comments? Board clerk, do we want to do those individually? Are we okay? Any questions on any of them?
I've got a couple. I think sports merger is going to be a little bit of an adjustment for some folks, at least in some of the more mainstream sports. I don't know enough about it. I guess my concern is, when we merge our football team, for example, does that take spots by Peru kids? Like, how does that work?
Amy can answer.
So they held a meeting out on Sable the other night.
Yeah.
Our coaches went, and it appears there's only going to be 10 athletes coming over. And I had typed up a letter. I don't know if you guys got to read it. It talked about how these kids are going to have to go through a tryout process, just like our athlete. Any merger, no athlete is guaranteed a spot on a Peru team. They go through the same process that all our athletes would as well. And so it just looks like right now varsity football, potentially 10 kids from Osable. And we graduated 19 seniors on our football team last year.
Right.
And have about, I think, maybe 12 kids coming up.
Didn't they say it was seniors, Amy, too?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep. They
10 seniors.
They haven't officially opened it up. And I don't think, they weren't gonna have enough people to have a football team this
Right.
year. So that's part of it. So they're not offering it to all.
And I know we have a good relationship with Osceola Valley about, other sports. Swimming is one of those. But
Yes.
you can kind of throw a lot of kids in the pool without cutting anybody.
Yes.
That's not the issue.
Yep.
Sometimes with these team sports, though, there's limits in terms of space.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there's any allowance or any grace that's given at all on our end if there's a kid on the edge, like a Peru kid, that our coaches are taking at least that into consideration.
I don't believe our coaches will be cutting anybody.
Okay.
They all want them to be a part of it, regardless of what school they're from. That's the message I have received.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There was a correction too. Swimming takes place at Osable Valley.
Yes.
I like the idea that it'd be at Peru, but
Yeah.
we'd have to be swimming in a ditch with the water in it.
Well, I mean, there's a pretty good sized one out there.
Yeah, I know. Often it does. Okay, are there any questions on 7? Any other questions?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Is it Spec Ed Solutions?
Oh, yes.
Right, so we had some questions on that, I think they've come through, and I wanted to just at least clarify from my own understanding what exactly this is.
Absolutely, so it's an opportunity for us to have we would actually work with this company to bill our Medicaid. So they would be the ones responsible for setting our staff members, like, for example, our speech pathologists, our school nurses, things like that, making sure that their license is associated with the proper Medicaid code, and that would also ensure that we're getting the most Medicaid reimbursement that we are entitled to for a school district. And they will work right in conjunction with our business office as well as our Office of Student Services in administration from the Office of Student Services, where they will be the go-between between this company and our teaching staff. So it is definitely one of those things that through the audit process, so our internal auditor noted this was an area that we needed to address as a school district, and it was recommended by our auditor to go with this particular, or go with a company. We reached out, and this particular company is 50 different school districts across the region, or across the state use this company, and we're very confident. And I also feel as though I did send an email out to the staff member that did send the concern question in, and they are misinformed, and I would be happy to sit down and help them understand what they don't understand.
And we, as the audit committee, Mark, Stephanie, and myself, did talk to Heidi, I can't remember her last name. We did talk to Special Ed Solutions, and we're very pleased with everything that they.
So from previous municipal experience, I understand that Medicaid coding is incredibly complex, right? So in basic terms, like you're assigning a code to a particular service, but that might be the wrong code, there may be 3 or 4 other codes.
So
you
it's
could
not
assign.
really that when it comes to public schools. It's
Okay.
not so much a particular service or a different type of service like a nurse would have to do in a hospital, or a doctor would have to do. But in the instance of a speech pathologist, which is one of our groups that are most of our Medicaid would end up coming from, their license needs to be connected with Medicaid, and then also we need to be making sure that we're billing it within the proper time frame, and that's what this company works through. It is quite time consuming to align it with our system. So one of the systems, I'll give you an example of that when we've talked about our audit of special education that we've had, is we use a system called ClearTrack for special education. That is antiquated when it comes to this particular process, and it's probably something our district has to look at very closely and probably adopting a new program, a new management program that's not in the budget for next year. But this company will do the legwork on the backside to ensure that ClearTrack is actually working in conjunction with Medicaid. Other companies, for example, IEP Direct, it reports it every week to Medicaid. ClearTrack, it's once a month, and it's very time consuming. So this is what this company will be making sure happens.
I'm sorry, one more question. So do they kind of correct or adjust our claims, help us clarify that?
They make sure our accounts are set up properly, and they're the people that are going to go back and do the type of back billing necessary to make sure we're getting the funds we're supposed to. Our administration and clerical staff in the student services office will work together to work with our various providers to make sure that they're getting their notes in on time, making sure things are correct that way.
Is there a chance at all that we've overclaimed something and they'll discover that and now we know? You know what I mean? Like, is that our...
Well, so Medicaid will deny.
Okay,
So they'll make it,
deny.
they deny. And,
Okay.
there's definitely money there that's on the table that we need to.
One big piece when we did discuss that with our auditors was that we really need to get something corrected for the Medicaid reimbursements.
And you and Mark were part of that.
Yeah, that's
Stephanie, okay.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay, motion to approve new business consent items 7A through J. Motion Mr. Peters, second Mr. Hamilton, all in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, motion carried. Okay, questions on the personnel? I think an explanation of leaves of absence and why we now state rather than recognition of, but disapprove.
Certainly. So when it comes to leaves of absences, in order for a person to take a leave of absence without pay, there needs to be a reason behind it. what we've experienced is a number of people that are using more of their time than they're actually allotted each year, or that they've accrued and they're taking that time without an explanation to why. And then we would have to, I'm disapproving that at the table with the individual, and then we're bringing it back to the Board of Education for just a disapproval at that point. The important part about it is we do hire individuals for positions, and we need them in those positions, as was stated earlier, and in public or PAT comment, meeting our staff and making sure we're providing them the supports needed in our school. When people just run out of time and don't have the time, they need to give we'll obviously listen to a reason, but if there's not a reason, it's just I need an extra day off, or then they will be disapproved.
So legally, we sought legal advice of
Yes.
should do that. Any other questions on A through H? There was an addition on C. Okay, motion to approve 8A through H. Mrs. Graves. Second, Mrs. Boswell Davies, all in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, motion carried. Okay. We'll have to do these individually. Any questions on our budget vote school board election? Congratulations, we have 2 board members. Okay, motion to adopt the following resolution, be resolved that the Peru Central School District Board of Education accepts and approves the results, totals of the May 19th, 2026 annual budget vote and school board election as follows: 534 total ballots cast, and they're enumerated right there. Motion? Motion, Mr. Hamilton? Second, Mr. Peters? Second, Mr. Peters? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Code of conduct.
So one of the areas that the board asked us to look at was the situation in regards to e-bikes, e-scooters, that type of thing. We did take it back to the leadership team to have conversations about that, as well as speaking to our resource officer, Zach Mendoza, and we came up with 3 different options. At this point, the leadership team does believe we need to leave the language as is, which would be that the e-scooters and skateboards are not permitted on campus. That students would be able to come, if that's what they choose to do, come to campus, but then they'd have to walk their bicycle on campus to the bike rack. Right now, it has really become a problem. We've got students that are ruining fields, ruining playgrounds with their e-bikes, and we had an e-bike that we needed to have confiscated today and taken back home, and a ticket may have to be issued for destruction of property. Students are riding them all over the place. They're riding them on the playgrounds. So it's a real problem. It's very much a safety concern. They're leaving the middle school, getting on multiple students on one of the e-bikes without a helmet, and they are driving as fast as cars or faster down School Street. Now, I feel like the best thing that the school district can do at this point is to ban them from campus, and they really should not be on our school campus.
Well, even tonight coming in, there must have been a half a dozen electric scooters going around down the sidewalk. I had to stop as they passed by me and so on going in. So they've become a problem. And actually, the law says on the class 1, 2, and 3 that they're not supposed to be used by anybody under 16 and on a road that's over 30 miles per hour. Because I did look up the law. So I think that we're going along with the law, and we have to be protective of everybody, and it's definitely something that has to be addressed.
If I recall, the language was requiring license and insurance.
Yes.
So we changed that.
Okay.
Took that off.
It was changed that night, and so the recommendation even that night was to move it to, those were discussions that were being had that night, but it
Yeah.
wasn't the language. So,
But when it says leave language as is, what's that certain language? I don't have a link for that. back to it.
It's up on number 3, right?
Yeah.
We're going riding snowmobiles, ATVs, or any other unlicensed motor vehicle is prohibited on school grounds at any time.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and then add the new boat, e-bikes, e-scooters, e-skateboards are prohibited on school grounds at all times. Students who ride these items to school must dismount and walk the device while on campus. Charging of these devices while on campus is strictly prohibited. Okay?
I will say I had the opportunity of dropping our daughter off to school today, which doesn't happen a lot. And I quickly, as I was driving away, I counted 7 e-bikes and like scooters that I could just quickly see. So it's great to see the kids are, using that to come to school, because, one of the sources of, how they can always come to school. That was just middle school, it wasn't even high school. And my only concern is, I'm happy we're meeting in the middle of getting off and walking from here, is who's gonna enforce on the weekends and, after hours like now, like somebody's, what's gonna happen if they're.
Well, an example, what happened last night was the playground was absolutely, the mulch was thrown all over, the grass was definitely rutted up from them. And one of the big pluses that we have on this campus is we have surveillance everywhere. And the individual was identified, and the e-bike was taken home to the family and talked about the potential of a citation. So, it's not gonna be an easy thing. It's no different than I would think back in the day when we were talking about skateboards, and they had put signs up, so we'll have to do signage as well.
And I think you said something would go out in Parent Square to notify people that they're no longer allowed on campus and so on. And especially, they should know that the law says under 16, class 1, 2, and 3.
This is one of those things that society's gone headlong into without the law really catching up.
For
sure.
Enforcement, I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
I also think we're gonna be chasing the tails a little bit with this until culture adjusts to this, normal. And it reminds me kind of like when cell phones became a thing all that long ago, where we didn't really know what to do with them when everybody had them, right? Like it's kind of the same thing. Because the society is moving faster than what our regulations, culture can respond to. Again, I'm kind of with you a little bit. I like the economical transportation mode that it provides. I don't think we're a legislative body for the rest of the community. So our town and county have to kind of step up and push a little bit harder on this one, so that we have something to fall back on. In the end, they'll go with whatever's advised.
And I think a lot of it will be awareness.
Right, and I think we have to publicize it, not just within every avenue, we have to publicize it.
So this will be a start of the school year, so it would be things that we'd have to share, administration would have to share out in September, August and September. We'd have to go through our public, our public comment period on the code of conduct, so we have to give 30 days, so it will be the same as the district emergency response plan will be in August, before we're adopting this officially.
So we don't have a motion to approve it.
So you would just need to all decide on what you want to do for the language. So that's what would then move it into a public process
Okay.
for the hearing, is you need to determine if you want to do
Okay.
1, 2, or 3.
Sorry, loophole. So like if somebody's 16 and they're licensed and they license a e-motorcycle, that's okay, right? Or not?
No,
Yes,
If they
if
like.
they had it.
Right, so we do, well, right, if we take number 2, but if we take option number 3, then the answer is no,
Right,
correct?
and if you take number 3, then licensed or not, you can't ride bike scooters on campus. You can ride to campus, however, you walk to the parking spot. But if you take 2, if the license, which I don't know, can you get a license for?
It
has to be the upperclassmen.
So in number one, the proposed language, students are not permitted to ride e-bikes, e-scooters on school grounds unless the rider is licensed to operate the vehicle and the vehicle is registered and insured. So, you know, we're talking about a person who has a scooter, like might have a moped or something of that nature. That's what we're really talking about. If an e-bike is being operated on the school grounds by a licensed operator, it must be operated on roadways at all times, and at no time should the e-bike or e-scooter be operated on sidewalks, playgrounds, turfs, or any of those other areas. So that's what was the current language that was in the Michigan bus. So that's the recommendation of the leadership team.
I know, I've read that a couple of times too.
So it is also connected to the agenda. It's
Right. Yes, it was.
It's the link at the bottom.
Sorry.
Is it, what we're saying is we're adding a little more language and being more specific and selective with what we're doing in number 3. Number 1 is more vague, it just includes e-bikes along with regular bikes.
So the real concern with number 2 was that, you know, it might open up the door, like if you're gonna allow people to ride e-bikes, if my kid doesn't have an e-bike, but we have a snowmobile or an ATV or those types of things, we may choose to send them on those types of things.
Right.
And, you know, so that's the area of concern. So, we could also add a bullet, e-bike scooters and,
Did Mr. Batten, okay, Mr. Batten and the leadership team recommend that we take our proposed language and then add the new bullet?
what we're saying right now is we can leave the current language as it currently is, and that was our recommendation.
Okay.
But we could, in any of these other iterations, we can change.
Would you mind reading that one more time?
Certainly.
Again, I don't, no, that's,
It's, you should have it here.
I don't.
You don't have executive content, if you scroll down.
Electric scooters and bikes can offer both a form of exercise as well as entertainment. They can also be dangerous to both riders and pedestrians as well as a potential damage to property. Students are not permitted to ride e-bikes or e-scooters on school grounds unless the rider is licensed to operate the vehicle and the vehicle is registered and insured. If an e-bike is being operated on school grounds by a licensed operator, it must be operated on roadways at all times, and at no time should the e-bike or e-scooter be operated on sidewalks, playgrounds, turf, or turf areas.
I timed out too, so that I couldn't see it. And now it wants me to change the password.
That's what I
Okay, Mr. Damiani, you can have that. But I think we'll go, my suggestion would make a motion that we go with current language and add 3.
Okay.
That's, motion is to go with current language, if that's leadership team.
Talking about adding him a license to drive it? What Scott just read?
That's in proposed language.
That's in the language.
You can only get a license with, I think it's class 4. Okay? And then add the bullet.
Bullet that says e-bikes, e-scooters, and e-skateboards are prohibited on school grounds at all times. Students who ride, I mean, we could use that only and just use that as information, saying that even if they're not permitted on school grounds at all times, students who ride these items to school must dismount and walk the device while on campus. Charging of these devices while on campus is strictly prohibited. So we could use just 3 and add that as our new information and take away if you're concerned about the license piece. But the problem.
But there are people that are 16 or 17 or 18 who might have these, who are parking in the student parking lot, are licensed and registered. which goes with the current language, right?
Sure. So just keep it.
Keep the bullet.
And then add the bullet.
Three.
And add 3. Keep whatever you have and add 3.
Yep.
So motion to
Two.
keep the proposed language and add
Add
it.
3. Okay? Okay. Okay, we've got a motion on the floor. Motion, Mrs. Graves. Second? No second.
So it fails.
So it fails.
So we don't
Okay.
we want the public.
Do we want just the original language? Motion to approve the original language.
I don't think we need to add.
You don't want that.
Okay,
If we
okay.
say,
Come on,
if we
no.
say
Right, I don't want
students are
the
not
original.
permitted
Okay.
to ride e-bikes or e-scooters unless they're licensed.
Then we're
We
good.
can't then say they're not allowed on school grounds, because we just said they
Yep.
could if they're licensed.
Okay,
So I don't think we need to add 3.
okay. So motion to go with proposed language that was presented to us last meeting.
Yeah.
Motion? Mr. Johnson, second? Second, Mrs. Graves. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Okay. NISBA. Mr. Webanero said he would be the representative in October. So do we have a motion to appoint Mr. Webanero?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, that's on
But
D.
that's-
Okay, D. Okay, sunsetting resolutions. Do we want to make a motion to adopt the following resolutions? We had one that was a good point we had made a couple of years ago, and that was trying to get these lockdown drills to 2 rather than 4. And Olivia sent out the information today. Do we want to adopt that resolution to only try to get 2 lockdown rather than 4? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to adopt that resolution.
Sunsetting resolution that we, or proposed language, or any sunsetting.
Any sunsetting ones that we are opposed to, or go with the sunsetting, and the one that we had on the lockdown drills. We okay?
Yeah, I didn't see any of those.
I wasn't either, yeah, they're pretty standard, that should be there. Okay, motion to adopt the resolution on the lockdown drills and the sunsetting resolutions for our annual business meeting. Motion, Mr. Peters,
Second.
second, Mr. Hamilton, all in favor? Okay, motion carried. And then on the annual business meeting, Mr. Webanero has said that he would be our representative again. So motion to have Mr. Webanero appointed as the, what do they call it, the board representative for the annual business meeting.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Peters. Second, Mrs. Graves, all in favor? Motion carried. And now, board retreat, I think we've got a date of July 28th. Okay?
What time?
4 to 8.
Second gets for remember.
Yep, 4 to 8. Okay, motion to approve the July 28th board retreat, and our board retreat this year is really going to be on, like our budget pieces,
We're gonna do a piece on budget, and
Yep.
we're gonna do a piece on climate culture.
which was mentioned in Mr. Marino's, that was on our agenda for our board retreat, so that we can, get the community informed, and improving teamwork, communication skills, and discussing climate and culture in the state of the district. So, motion to accept July 28th as our board retreat. We are not bringing NISBA up because we all are the same board members that we had last year and the year before. Motion? Motion, Mr. Hamilton. Second, Mrs. Boswell Davies, all in favor? No one opposed, motion carried. Okay, and then it was our updated policy of 5420.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Certainly, so this one is on anaphylaxis and EpiPens. I'm going to ask that Mrs. Rebus give us a little bit of an update. She worked with the nurses on this.
Sure. So we always have a grant that gives us EpiPens for schools.
Yeah.
And it gives us one set per building, and we've purchased historically the rest. Now they are allowing us to use the nasal epinephrine, and we have found a grant that will allow us to purchase all epinephrine as the nasal, allow us free epinephrine for our entire district. Everything that we would need, we would not have to purchase. It will save us about $4,000. Currently, our policy uses the term EpiPen instead of just epinephrine. So what we've moved to change is we've changed every instance of EpiPen or EpiPen injector to all types of epinephrine. The other piece that we did is we adopted the state definition of anaphylaxis as opposed to what we previously had. Those are the changes.
Okay.
In order to get that money, in order to move forward, that we're trying to do both readings now.
The reading and adopted, so that we can get that $4,000. Okay.
Question? So this is a forward-looking policy that says we're going to work toward assisting students, and there's a little bit of, we're establishing plans that we're going to move forward with. This, it is there a timeline for establishing these types of plans, or is that just part of the you know what I mean? Like,
Where are you looking? What paragraph?
so
I
it's
said it earlier.
right on, like on the second page, for example, superintendent and or designee will establish the level of emergency plans to adequately deal with and treat potential.
So those are in place
Those
right
are in
now.
place.
Those are already in place. We're just changing the word from EpiPen to epinephrine.
Yeah, okay.
And so those are medical plans that our nurses work on. That's part of our regular medical protocol, if you will. So those, and that will also be part of our training for our staff. It's really just a language change.
So, can we have a motion to conduct this first reading and adopt the revised policy 54-20.1, following anaphylaxis? Motion, Mrs. Graves, second, Mr. Hamilton, all in favor? No one opposed, motion carried. Is there any public comment? Oh, yes.
Hi, my name is Kathy Kelleher. I'm a parent of a student with allergies, and I just want to thank all of you for your work on this, Rachel, and for approving it tonight. This means a lot to us as parents and keeps the kids safe, so thank you.
Thank you. We don't need an executive session? Motion, and normally we don't go until 9 o'clock. Before.
What should I say?
Yeah. Too many.
Should have been better.
Yeah, too many reports.